On July 12, 2016, an international court, or Arbitral Tribunal, ruled that China had no right to control the West Philippine Sea. This award sent an important message to China, the Philippines, and the entire world that might doesn't make right. What made it a big deal? Let me take 3 minutes and 33 seconds to explain in this first edition of our new educational video series, SeaLight 333. Back in 2012, the Philippines discovered Chinese ships fishing at Scarborough Shoal. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, Scarborough Shoal lies within the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ. That means the Philippines has the sovereign right to control fishing there. But even though China signed this law, it claims nearly all of the South China Sea as its own domestic waters, and that the international law it signed doesn't apply there. That's why it's trying to push other countries out of their legal EEZs, not just the Philippines, but also Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, and Vietnam. So when a Philippine Navy ship arrived to expel the Chinese fishing boats from Scarborough Shoal, it was met by China's own Coast Guard ships. After a long standoff, both sides eventually agreed to pull back. But China broke the agreement and took control of the shoal after the Philippine ships left. Something had to be done. So the Philippines decided to take China to court. They went to a special court called the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which was set up specifically to resolve disputes about international law. The Philippines asked the court to rule on 3 things. First, that China's 9-line claim has no basis in international law. Second, that none of the reefs or rocks in the Spratly Islands are big enough to generate their own EEZs, so China can't claim control that way either. And third, that China illegally interfered with the Philippines' right to control the resources, such as fishing, oil, and gas, that lie within its own EEZ. China refused to participate in the proceedings, but the court did its best to consider both sides anyway, and in 2016 ruled decisively in the Philippines' favor. Here's what the court decided. China's 9-line, the court said it has 0 basis in international law. None. What about the Spratly Islands? The court said that because none of them can naturally sustain human life, none are technically islands under the law, even if a country artificially turns a reef into a military base. That means that nothing in the Spratly Island group qualifies for its own EEZ. Finally, the court ruled that China has repeatedly violated the Philippines' sovereign rights. First, in how it restricts lawful activities like fishing, oil and gas exploration, and patrolling within the Philippines' own EEZ. And in how it allows its own ships to fish there without Philippine government permission. The Arbitral Tribunal Award was a huge victory for the Philippines and deserves to be commemorated, not just by Filipinos, but by all who believe in fair and equal rules that apply to everyone, and that might should never make right.